Dave, great to see you. Really eager to have the kids get a perspective of a real live iOS developer, which is what you are.
That's true.
And, we put together this App Dev with Swift course, and I am super excited to sort of not only make the course available, but have everybody, both teachers and kids, understand really what it's like to be an iOS developer and what the possibilities are there. So first, why don't we start out, and why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, and we'll go from there.
Great. Thanks, Kevin. Happy to be here, or I guess in my home in this crazy pandemic time. Work looks a little different these days, but that's, I guess, I could start with one of the great things about being an iOS developer is it's so flexible.
I mean, as long as you have laptop, you can work.
Laptop, good internet, and a nice pair of headphones to help you focus. But so my name is Dave Krawczyk. I am 30 years old. I'm from Chicago, Chicago area. So I have been interested in computers for probably half my life. Since they came out. I remember my dad logging into AOL with the dial-up modem and playing MC Hammer.
Oh my God.
Streaming MC Hammer on the internet. I thought that was amazing. Then I started building computers, and then at the end of high school, I started to learn programming a little bit, and then went to college for web application development. We can get a little bit more into the difference between that and computer science later. But basically, throughout college, I learned how to make web apps, and then transitioned to iOS at the end of college, and was hired by some crazy guy out of college named Kevin McEwen. And at a company called Deck 5, I started as a junior developer and learned a lot in, I think, 2 years, just under 2 years.
You were developing on the iPad then, right? And
yes.
Not even the iPhone necessarily, but
yeah. And so a lot more real estate on the iPad, which was fun, a lot more visuals. But we were working on an iPad app called Deckfolio, which was an options analysis app. And I didn't know anything about option trading, but it just goes to show that, any industry can use an iPad app, and you don't have to be an expert in that industry to work on the product, but it does kind of get you to see cool areas of the world and the economy. After Deck 5, I went to, took a foray for a couple of months at one company, and then went and taught iOS development in San Francisco for a company called Mobile Makers with Kevin. And we took 60 or so students from not knowing anything about iOS development to most of the time getting iOS developer roles.
And those were adults, right? Those were...
anywhere from, I think, 18 to 60 years old. It was somebody we would teach.
So they were interested in what, changing careers, or they?
A lot of them were career changers. Maybe they had an English background, but couldn't find work, or didn't find the work interesting and wanted to change, or they were in design and wanted to be able to build their own apps instead of just design their apps. And then I think in one case, there was a guy that was starting a company, and he just wanted to know what his developers were talking about when they were building his product. So that was kind of an interesting case. From there, started a business. We were consulting, building IoT products, and I was kind of the app end of that business. And then actually started a business where we built our own product. We built a internet connected smart mirror that showed pertinent information every time you looked into it, whether it be in the morning or brushing your teeth at night. And there was an app component to that, but there was a lot of software that was being written on the mirror that I was learning and writing. And then from there, went back into corporate world for a little bit and worked at BMW for a couple of years, which gave me a lot of cool experiences. And now I'm at a market research company called Numerator, and so far love it. Working with some great people, and the culture at this company is just outstanding, which is something that you get at tech companies, is just this tech culture that they really care about keeping their employees happy, and just happy and healthy is a good place to be these days.
And you are doing app development at BMW as well as where you are now, right?
Correct. Yeah. For most of my career, every position I had was app development, except for building that smart mirror. I was the CEO of that company, trying to raise investment, and building software on the mirror, which was in Node.js and some other, Linux-based technologies.
A lot of JavaScript and so forth. Yep. Cool. And then you've kind of avoided Android. Is that intentional, or?
I'm aware of Android, and at BMW, I did spend some time on the Android app, helping debug issues and build features. And then actually at the end of BMW, before I left, I was working with Flutter, which is a lot like what you'll be learning with Swift UI in the class, I guess. So Flutter was cross-platform, and once you build it, you could run it on both iOS and Android.
Very cool.
But yeah, the Android development experience, as I found, is a lot more stressful and fragmented than iOS. Just a quick example, I think when iPhone comes out with a new operating system, it gets to 90% adoption within a month, which is very quick. And that basically means that when iOS 14 comes out, 90% of iPhone users go on to iOS 14. So they have all the latest features and technologies available for the user and the developer to write for. With Android, it's all over the board. You could have 50% of people on this, 50% of people on that. It just seems a little bit more, messed up and fragmented.
Right. They're relying on the carriers to do all the upgrades, and they're all on different schedules and so forth. And I know for me as an iOS developer, there was nothing more fun than to go to WWDC and see all the new stuff that was coming out and realize that you could actually go use it, and put it in an app and people would get it, because the adoption rate is so quick. Where Android, you go to their convention and all the cool stuff, it'll maybe 3 or 4 years before people are going to adopt that, which is
absolutely. And with iOS, you can trust that if somebody's running your app, they're running it on a device that is quality.
Yes.
With Android, the quality is all over the board. I've heard stories that people have to write their apps to accommodate for certain screens that were installed upside down.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I know the developer that told us that. Exactly. So, and those are never fun developments, because you're not doing anything other than working around issues that somebody else created.
Exactly.
So what do you like about, what would you say, when you get up in the morning and you're an app developer or an iOS developer, are you happy? Do you like what you do?
I have fun. I think that, a lot of times when you're working at a company, there might be a case where, there's not much work to do, or maybe you're planning or something like that. And those days, can be boring a little bit. But when I'm actually building and being creative and collaborating with the team and brainstorming and all these awesome things that you do as an iOS developer, that's 95% of the job. And that is fun. Like I'll lose track of time. I'll forget to eat lunch. I'll just put on my headphones and just work and enjoy it. And it's almost zen when you're in the groove. So I live for those moments.
I almost feel like using the adjective work is the wrong adjective. You know, it's a lot of people go to work every day and they go to work to, you know, basically earn an income, which is totally reasonable, but they don't really like what they do. They basically sort of need to do it to put food on the table and so forth. And I think you and I are in a different boat where, you know, we get to do both, right? Not only
Absolutely.
good high paying job, but it's also something that we love to do. And so I always feel guilty when somebody says, oh my gosh, you worked all weekend. And I go, well, worked. And, you know, I was developing, so I'm not sure I consider that work. But.
Yeah, no, that's very true. I mean, they always say, like, if you find a job that you love, then you won't work a day in your life.
That's right. That's a great adage. Yes.
That's what we've found, I think.
And have you found this career to be financially rewarding? I mean, how do you
Absolutely
compare it?
So let's say in college, I mentioned that I was doing web application development. And in my senior year, I was interested in iOS development. I always had been, but there was not a class and I didn't really have the opportunity to do a project. But in my senior year, I found somebody looking for an iPad app that was willing to pay somebody to learn iOS development to build this app.
How often do you get paid to learn, right?
Yeah, that was an incredible opportunity. I spent 4 months learning and taking tutorials, and it's all on the internet.
Yep.
Like, I didn't go to a class to learn iOS development. So I just watched videos. There was a great Stanford course that I watched that I'm sure is still out there and up to date. But then after those months, I started to build, and I built an iPad app that allowed you to search images and documents within the Library of Congress, and got paid. And the best part of that project was at the end of my college schooling, I spoke with a recruiter and said, Dave, your resume says Dave Krawczyk, web developer, but you have iOS experience. You need to change your resume to say Dave Krawczyk, iOS developer, and watch the offers come flooding in. And he was right. And he had mentioned, like, the going rate for an iOS developer was, well, at that point, I think it was like 80,000 for somebody with good amount of experience. And
how many years ago was that?
2012.
2012. So almost 10 years ago. Yeah.
So my jaw dropped at that. I was pretty excited to hear those numbers. And I have to say, like, things have gotten better since. So it's definitely, if you're willing to put in the time and keep learning new technologies and stay ahead of the curve, and do the things that developers love to do, which is just keep on learning, then you'll see benefits, not only with career progression, but with financial benefits as well.
That's awesome. There's another way to make money at this, which isn't just working for somebody else developing, but doing your own app. Have you had any thoughts about doing something like that and making money that way?
Yeah. So I haven't really spent too much time monetizing my own products. Mm-hmm. I'd say the closest thing was basically when we did the Smart Mirror startup. That was a chance to make my own dollar, right? But the one app that I can think of that I have built and put out there a while ago was the Chicago Neighborhoods app that I built. And it basically, I think it was probably your idea. We were walking to,
and I was lost.
Yeah.
Which am I in?
Walking to a restaurant, and Kevin would always, or I would always say, like, what neighborhood is this? And I think you'd be like, oh, if only there was an app for that. And so we built it with your help, and released it, and it got a lot of good publicity. It was on the news. People still talk about it. It hasn't been updated in a while, so that's definitely been on my list for a couple of years.
Hey, that might be a project one of the students might want to try to take.
Absolutely. Yeah. So just basically, what neighborhood am I in Chicago, and surface that information. It's not a difficult problem to solve. The data's out there. It's just about combining the source with the front end.
And so I mean, there could have been a couple ways to sort of monetize that. One is just to run ads when people are using it, and you get some advertising revenue from that. But the other way would have been to say, maybe it gives you additional information, like crime information in a neighborhood, or how good the schools are, or other.
Yep.
You pay 99 cents for that, right?
Yeah,
So,
like an additional content.
yeah, right. And,
Exactly.
when you take, it doesn't sound like a lot, 99 cents, but, when hundreds of thousands of people start using it, or everybody's using it when they come to visit the city or whatever, that can be a nice source of income.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. So just to kind of close up, Dave, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Where are you headed?
That's a good question. I love being hands-on and writing code and planning and brainstorming, but I also feel like I have a lot of opinions, or maybe experience with how things should and shouldn't be done.
Mm-hmm.
So with those things combined, I think that being in technical leadership would be a great goal for me in 5 years. So right now I'm a senior developer on a team. So, I can offer my experiences, but I'm not really setting the direction of the team. My next step would be tech lead. So basically I would be the lead member on the team, and then, I do set the direction of the team technically. And then from there, maybe engineering management, and then who knows from there. But kind of improving my leadership skills over time and just utilizing the experiences that I have.
That's great. And I guess just to finish up on that thought, what do you think are some of the key things key attributes you need to have that would make you a good tech lead?
It's a very collaborative role.
Mm-hmm.
I think that you need to be confident in your experiences, but also willing to step back and listen to better ideas, because they're out there. There's always going to be another viewpoint that maybe it's not the best idea, but it makes you think a little differently, and then you come up with an even better idea. I think communication and consistency is good. As you lead, you want to set an example, and people like structure too. So every morning, be on time for your stand-up. Stand-up is basically as a developer, you have a morning meeting every day to talk about what you did and what you're going to do. So what you did yesterday, what you're going to do today, and then if there's anything in your way. And then
done quickly.
Yes, 15-minute. Anytime you have the entire team in a meeting, you want that to be very quick, because nothing's getting done.
And is that why they call it stand up? Because they make sure you're standing the whole time.
Exactly. This all is agile development. It's a methodology that a lot of companies use to manage their teams and their tasks. So getting work done is one thing, but managing it and planning it and all that, other stuff is very important.
Awesome. Well, Dave, this was awesome. This was great having a chance to talk to you, and I was really eager to get you on so that kids and teachers can kind of see what the potential is for. I mean, this is you don't need a full computer science degree to do a lot of what we do in app dev, and it does create a awesome opportunity for, I think, kids from any background to go, be successful and do something fun and build and be creative. And I think you're the perfect example of that. So.
Absolutely. I appreciate that. I mean, as a kid, I loved building puzzles. I loved putting together Legos and bricks and Lincoln Logs,
Yeah.
and that translated to this career, just putting things together and thinking of new creative ideas and solving problems.
That's
So
awesome.
if you like to do that, then hopefully you can get into iOS development, and away you go.
Away you go. Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Thanks, Kevin.
All
Good to
right.
see you.
Take care.
Bye.